Do you remember when Bob Iger said he didn't want to have the company being engaged in culture wars? I do. It was less than a month ago. Well, lo and behold, here we go. Another race replacement in a Marvel Studios production. I guess what Bob Iger was saying, he didn't mean it at all. But we have this new report that in the upcoming Marvel Studios Agatha Coven of Chaos television show on Disney+, it will star Saturday Night Live alumni Sasheer Zamata as a race-replaced Jennifer Kale. So we got this... She actually confirmed it in an interview given to Mashable in promotion of her upcoming comedy special, The First Woman. She detailed to the outlets Karama Horn how The First Woman centers on the topics of health and womanhood and my personal being. The actress eventually noted that one of her major influences in producing her special was the book Witches, Sluts and Feminists Conjuring the Sex Positive. Oh my gosh. This is going to be absolutely terrible. You can just imagine the kind of virtue signaling we're going to get from someone like this in Marvel Studios now. And then she goes on and says the book talks about female sexuality and the history around it. Women's bodies have been demonized for so long and it's still happening. Ultimately, a witch is an independent woman. It's a woman who is a free thinker in control of her womanhood, body, and life. I don't think that's a bad thing. That's absolutely not true. A witch is a worshiper of Satan. They are absolutely bad and they do evil acts all the time. What are you even talking about? They are trying to normalize witchcraft here, and this woman, they're going to try and do it through Marvel Studios. Like, this is absolutely insane. But to be expected, like, this is what the culture has turned into now. This is what these Hollywood production companies are doing. They are actively promoting the demonic, and this woman is literally saying that it's a good thing right here. It's just insane. It's absolutely insane what is happening to the United States of America and Western culture at large. Nevertheless, she goes on and says, I had already written material for The First Woman before I went through the audition process. It felt magical that I got to be in a show about witches. I talk about it so much in my special. To this end, the actress then publicly confirmed for the first time that she'd be portraying a race-replaced version of the aforementioned Jennifer Kale. I definitely did do as much comic book research as I could, but the way we form this character is very different from what I think people expect. And then Spencer here gives some brief history about the character. The reincarnated form of the ancient Atlantean sorceress Zerid Na, Kale made her first appearance in the 11th issue of Marvel's horror-centered series Fear Volume 1. Her character introduced as the young occult-obsessed granddaughter of former cult of Zerid Na leader Joshua Kale. One day, stealing a magic tome from her grandfather's shelf, Kale kicks off her life as a practitioner of the mystic arts by attempting to summon and subsequently control the demon known as Thog the Netherspawn. However, when her plans unsurprisingly go awry, she is saved only by the intervention of the Man-Thing, whom Kale soon discovers she shares a mysterious psychic link with. You can clearly tell here that she is a white woman with blonde hair. In light of their connection, the pair would spend the next few years adventuring together, their travels finding them wrapped up in such existential crises as Throg's return and the attempted invasion of Earth by a horde of demons. Notably, Kale's heroics in preventing the latter event would garner her the attention of the ancient wizard Dakim, who proceeded to take the young woman under his magical tutelage. From there, Kale would bounce around the 616, her appearance becoming a staple whenever anything occult-related reared its head. Over the next few years, the sorceress would be criticized into the short-lived paranatural super team, the Legion of Night, enter into a doomed relationship with the Ghost Rider known as Johnny Blaze, and even offer X-Force her assistance in taking down the succubus Pandemonia. Unfortunately, her life would only spiral from there, and soon after helping her newfound mutant allies, Kale would find herself recruited into the appropriately named super team, the Witches, in order to put an end to the threat of the cult of Zerid Na once and for all. Though she was successful, the team's final battle would leave her broken, as she would discover in its aftermath that their now dead opponent was none other than Brother Andrew, who had been possessed by one of the cult's demonic watchdogs. Finding herself heartbroken and exhausted by this revelation, Kale would then leave her mystic life behind in favor of something more super heroic and join the Florida-based branch of the Avengers 50-state initiative, The Command. But in a cruel twist of irony, one of her first missions would find her not only investigating the stomping grounds for her longtime friend Man-Thing, but also being dragged into the extra-dimensional magic-prompted events of Marvel Zombies 3. Though she would survive her initial foray into the publisher's resident undead universe, Kale would find herself drawn back into the zombie fold when it is discovered that zombie Deadpool's head had broken loose into the 616, teaming up with a new incarnation of the Midnight Suns and making a dark deal with Dormammu in exchange for more power. Kale ultimately succeeds in putting the lid back on the infectious jar, locking the virus away within the already dead body of Simon Garth, aka Zombie. However, things would never quite take an upturn for Kale, as after being freed from her pact with Dormammu, thanks to the help of Damien Hellstrom, the sorceress is brutally murdered by a Daniel Drum-possessed Victoria Hand as part of the ghost villain's plans for revenge against his magic-practicing brother. Using evil magics to bring herself back from the dead, Kale has since returned to acting as both a light in the dark amongst the 616 mystics and assisting Man-Thing in his various adventures, most recently helping him take revenge on the demon responsible for his condition, Belasco. Yet, though throughout all of these twists, turns, and tribulations, Kale has never been portrayed as anything other than a blonde white woman. As such, Zamata's casting as a sorceress marks yet another race replacement for the Marvel Cinematic Universe. Interestingly, Zamata's role as Jennifer Kale seems to lend credence to a rumor about the Marvel Cinematic Universe's future. Geekosity's Mikey Sutton reported back in 2020 that not only will the studio's upcoming Blade reboot introduce audiences to the Johnny Blaze incarnation of Ghost Rider, but that the Midnight Suns are being positioned to form in Blade 2. As part of that team would be Jennifer Kale alongside Blade, Ghost Rider, Man-Thing, Werewolf by Night, and Nadeed Glyph Hassan. So that is your latest update on Agatha Coven of Chaos. Marvel Studios still wading into the culture war, still doing race replacements, still doing what we all dislike about it, and what is, I think, ultimately leading to a lot of their decline in the box office revenue. And we're actually seeing their movies start to lose money, like Ant-Man and the Wasp: Quantumania.
Subscribe for more.